Tricky mate. Hello? What? The heck is that? Oh my god. I almost made it. Oh my goodness. This is really unbelievable.
Hello everyone and welcome to Take It to the Max show. Once again I'll be playing in the 5-minute pool. And of course all of those watching a lot of blitz today at the from the Belgian tournament with the top players in the world will probably have seen enough blitz, but I'm going to make it exciting because I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm thinking as this thing is going on. Anyway, this is a line I started playing about a year ago as black against the classical King's Indian, but actually I was always wondering why black doesn't just play like that. It seemed like such a simple plan, just to play for d5 as quickly as possible here. But when I started studying, it turned out that this is actually quite a complicated position. White has lots of interesting moves to play. Main moves probably king h1, but white can play bishop f4, bishop g5, knight c2, knight b3, and have a reasonable position, and still fight for an advantage. So yes, there it is. Main move, king h1, knight d7. Now again, white has a number of moves. The bishop moves, all three bishop moves, g5, f4, e3 are possible. Knight c2 and knight b3 are also possible. Even rook e1 was once played against me by a grandmaster, so quite possible as well. On knight c2, I think the best is to play for d5 immediately with knight b6. Here it is, my knight b6 move, trying to play d5. On this one, actually, I can already play d5, but I can first improve the position by playing bishop e6. That gives me a little bit something else to play for. An extra move in blitz. You can always look if you can have a tactical extra move, and that always helps. Okay, on knight e3, I think d5 is just fine. Although maybe I can plug something, try something else as well, but I think d5 is just fine. So knight e3 would be logical, but then d5. And just the bishop on f4 is not guarding the pawn on b2, so if my bishop opens up, okay, white just goes for simple stuff, and of course I'm going for the endgame. I like this endgame. I'm hitting the pawn on b2, so I'm expecting an actual endgame after bishop takes knight, with a slight advantage for black thanks to the two bishops and non-balanced pawn structure, and and that's basically it. So lovely position to get out of the opening by move 14 as black, I think. So I should be quite happy. And let's see. So white is trying to sacrifice on b2 and then rook b1, and if I go knight h5, for example, obviously I'll get some counterplay. So I'm going to play knight takes b2 and knight h5 here. I'm going for the second bishop. The more bishops I can get, the merrier, obviously. And on bishop f1, I'm planning the very nasty knight f4, I believe. Trying to get that bishop to move into where my knight can take it. Of course, I can also take the knight on c3 and play knight a4 and keep my extra pawn. And I should be hitting another pawn on a2. But this, I think, is just very nice. On rook f2, I have knight d3. I'm going for both bishops, in fact, and more after that. So the position suddenly has deteriorated. If by move 14 I was slightly better, by move 17 I think I'm already winning. You have to really check if you're going to sack a pawn, even temporarily, if your opponent doesn't have a tactic that clings on to your pieces in such a way that you can't really get rid of them. And I think this is where we are. And Dirigo is not looking too good here. Yeah, well then, of course, I can take another pawn, and that's a lot of extra pawns. Not convinced is my opponent. I'm going after more pieces here with bishop c4, pinning him and tying him up in knots, and forking him here. Okay, he's convinced by now. 21 convincing moves from me, and we are moving on to the next opponent. Beautiful summer out here where I am anyway. I got to play in a tournament this Friday at the Marshall Chess Club. Managed to tie for first, even though I wasn't playing very well. But Alex Lenderman, who beat me and was doing quite well, lost the last round to 2400 player Alex King by simply blundering a queen in one move, and that sometimes changes the outcomes of the turn. So I tied for first with Grandmaster Zviad Zoria, scoring 7 out of 9, and getting some cool games in. So hopefully I'll get some more cool games in here. Somehow not getting any takers yet in the 5-minute pool, but I'm sure they will be coming. Meanwhile, Magnus is roaring past the event here in Belgium. Hikaru can't get his second win after his win in France. He's in second to last in Belgium in the Grand Chess Tour event. Very exciting stuff. I was watching today. Lots of cool games. Everybody beating everybody pretty much. Can't even call a favorite in any particular game, but of course Magnus is staying the course the best here. Okay, what do we have here? Where is the 5-minute pool? Where is it gone? Is it celebrating Father's Day? By the way, all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. I'm very happy to be father. Got my congratulations today, and you should get yours. All right, Branimir, International Master, 2187. Okay, well, off we go to London town with the London system. Okay, knight is obviously trying to get to f5. It made it, but I don't mind, because I think I have an advantage in the pawn structure now. Okay, even more so. Okay, and now try to open up. Okay, this should be very simple advantage for white. Should be very usable going forward. Obviously my opponent thinks it's no big deal, but we'll see. We'll see about that. Yeah. Okay, let's think about this logically. Okay, I'm gonna try to stop black from castling. I think that will be a cool idea. Queen a3. Just stopping my opponent from castling could be quite interesting, right? If black takes on d4, I can just castle immediately, or I can take on d4 with the pawn. I don't know. That has to be considered quite seriously because that's a pawn sack. Maybe just castles, and on f d e rook e1, and then when I take on e3, I think I should have enough of the pawn with black not castled like that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Still keeping my queen. Okay. I was thinking knight f1. Really bringing home the point, right? I don't want black to castle. It's worth a pawn to me. Now, does black have a good defense? At least I got him thinking. That's good. I thought castle's queenside was the move, actually. Now it's not going to happen. Now there's problems, I think, for black. But I still have to break through. Well, I can certainly take on a7. That would be nice. But why don't I just double for now? Okay, that's actually smart. If I check, okay, if I check, strange position. And go here. Wow. Hard to say how to make the most out of this. Check again. I think black gave up on trying to be okay with this. Now allowing knight d4. It should be nice. Takes. Takes. Okay, now I win a full pawn, which is nice. The a7 pawn is mine for the taking. There it is. Boom. Off goes a full pawn, and I'm up a pawn. That was a complicated idea, but it worked out. Wow. Now I need to convert the pawn. Well, I have some more time on the clock, and I should be able to convert if I play reasonably well. Okay. Let's see, rook d1 is coming, I guess, at some point. So let's move our queen into a4 to stop it. queen to b3. Okay, now let's see if I can improve the position of my pieces in general. Maybe I should just start moving my pawns up on the queen side. Because in the end of the day, that's how I'm going to win, right? By advancing where I have an extra pawn. And there's some issues with rook takes h6 check if the rook on d7 moves too far away. Okay. That moves okay. I can trade queens. That's fine. Take. And here. Now I can move my king out. Okay. Bring my king closer to the pawns. Okay, I think this should be winning too. Okay, now for now let's push some pawns up a little bit. This is not looking very good for black. A very passive position. Okay, I'm gonna move this pawn up so I can take and hit some big targets at the same time. And this is looking like black has to kind of resign. And he lost some time instead. That's fine as well. That's acceptable. Acceptable damage. Let's see. We can take a look at that quickly. So what happened here was knight e7, and now black said, "Oh, just no problem. I'm giving the knight, I'm giving up the pawn structure, but I'm taking a bishop." And then just played knight d7. I played c4, knight f6. Okay, maybe c takes d5 is just a mistake. I don't need to really take. But now black plays c5. Very interesting idea. And then I said, look, queen a4, queen a3. My idea was that on pawn takes pawn, initially I was going to play e takes d4, but then I noticed that on e takes d4, black has bishop b5, and I also can't castle. I can castle, of course, the queen side, and maybe that's fine. Maybe even fine, in fact, very fine. In fact, after castles, I think white is quite a bit better, now that I think about it. But I decided to castle king side, and then after pawn takes pawn, rook e1, knight g4, I played knight f1, and here I thought black had to castle queen side. And after knight takes, rook takes, king b8, I of course still have, I have this, what's it called, absolute pin, I think it's called, when you pin up something like this big and this bad. Yeah, this is dangerous for black. Of course, this knight can go roaring around looking for stuff. Very dangerous position. So actually my whole idea seems to have worked, and black played quite smartly, played knight bishop e6, takes, and then decided to bring in the rook. Now there was another idea to go rook c8, queen c5. Maybe that was a little better, but after rook d8, rook e1, queen d6, queen check, well, you saw what happened. Anyway, off to the next. Matmaster, good luck to you. Okay, I'm bound by honor to play this sacrifice, e4, if you play c5. And now we are in the Albin counter land, where I'm actually up a tempo with the bishop on f4. Interesting stuff. Let's see how it works. Alright, well, let's see how you do this. Knight b5, e6, attack. Let's see if this actually gets me something. e6, huh? Cool. Let's go bishop c4 for now. Mm-hmm. Bishop e5. Complicated position, I have to say. Okay. Knight e2 to protect my star. Okay, castles as well. Let's see if black can untie his pieces. A little messy for both sides. Maybe I should have played knight c7 at some point already. Possible. Maybe I can do it next time. Knight b4 to play knight c6, yeah? Okay, let's move our knight into c7. And this one into c3. Now I want to take on f6 and take on e4 and take on c5 at some point. Okay, that's accepted. Just doing it. Suppose I can just play rook b1 for now. Interesting. And now take this one. Now I'm hitting a few targets. The knight on b4 and the pawn on b7. And that seems pretty good. Somehow my pieces are feeling reasonably comfortable there on c7 and d6. Okay, that's a nice sacrifice. I will accept it. Now knight d7 seems to win a piece, I mean a rook, so I'm gonna go for it. Simply up a rook now, yeah? Rook takes knight is gonna be next. Black has a chance of being down 2 exchanges. Choice, not a chance, a choice. And this is not really a good position for black. Taking on c2 would lead to rook c1 and another knight is gone. So knight has to come back, takes. 2 exchanges basically. Pretty devastating the amount of material black is down. If I don't blunder anything big, I should be okay. Usually I try to pin up my opponent to some problems, like for example rook b8, just to pin him up. Okay, fine. Now maybe see if I can trade some queens. That wouldn't be too bad while protecting my pawns. I think actually Koran was down 2 exchanges today against Nakamura. They were playing bishop and knight and pawn against 2 rooks, but of course it's just too much stuff to be done. And so Hikaru eventually won that endgame. And so will I. I have to admit. So will I. Okay, this ideas of trying to actually blockade, they're not really going to work here because already the knight has some problems. I'm just going to improve my position a little bit. I don't think I want that knight out. I don't want that knight out and about. Now knight on c3 isn't really gonna see the light of day, I think. Yes, and now I can go up to, say, the 6th rank for now, not 8th, not 7th. Okay, now let's move the king here. That will cut down on some other important moves. And now my king is approaching. And now the approach is very close here. Now we have ignition. The king's right here. And even bishop b6 isn't going to save black, because I'm going to start taking all the pawns on the 5th rank. It's going to be a lot of pawns extra. Okay, I think we're done. My opponent resigned, it looks like. So if we go and look at what happened, we'll see that initially, wait. Okay, so this is a cool line, g6. Actually, most people play a6 to stop exactly what happened in the game, because it is kind of dangerous. I mean, my pieces are right there. Maybe I misplayed it. Maybe knight c7 at some point is very strong, but I decided to just develop and pin up this knight and bishop combination, and then just bring the other knight. Now notice bishop b5 I take with check, queen a5, I play knight c3, and I defend everything. So black castled, I castled, and now I think this knight b4, it's a nice idea to play knight c6, but comes a little bit late. Now I played knight c7 first, and then knight c3. Now I want to take the pawn on e4. How is black gonna defend it? Maybe, okay, he played knight c6, or he played a6. So after knight c6 takes, maybe he could have taken the queen, and knight e4, queen takes b2. And now the rook is hanging, so I may not have time for knight c5. If I play something like c3 to shield the rook from the pieces, then black can maybe get active with knight e5. So this is maybe one way the black would have played. Now he played a6 instead, and I just started taking, and again bishop f6 I think is a mistake. Queen takes f6 was stronger. Always look for how you can energize your pieces. So knight e4, bishop takes, rook b1, bishop g7. Yeah, this was a mistake. Actually, this was a good move. Bishop e5. The idea being that knight c5, black can maybe take on d6, or maybe even take on c2 first. Kind of trying to get rid of my queen, and then if I take, then take here. And this is a crazy position. I don't know, I can take around here, take here, queen b3 or queen e2. Probably equal. But, oh, we got Branimir again. He's back. Okay, Branimir's back, and I'm back with b5. It's a cool little move. Played, actually this position was seen today in Carlsen black, Kramnik white. I like this b3 move because then I can play a4. I like this idea. Very okay, I'm gonna hit again. Take space. Take space. Okay. No worries, I just take space for the future. Look at this. This beautiful space I took for the future. Will it be good for me? I'm sure. How could it be bad when you take so much space for free? Right out of the opening. By move 10, I got a ridiculous amount of space. So much space I can rent it out. Alright. I actually want to exchange though, so I'm gonna take. Otherwise I would have played queen c8. And now more space, c5. Now I can actually play d5, because before that, when the bishops were on the board, d5 was not really a good move to play. Obviously because the bishop would be kind of blocked out. But here it's possible. Now I have to think about how to make use of this position. Probably just develop, but where should the queen go? Alright, d7 is possible, b6 is possible, but on b6 is doing absolutely nothing. So I'm gonna go to d7, even though I'm allowing a trade of knights, but okay, now maybe d4 and just really look at this knight on b5 all by himself, no one to help him out. Okay, this one maybe I should play pawn takes pawn. Yes, I should, because then I play e5 and I got a serious white has a serious problem here with that knight on b5 and all these issues here. Okay, now d4 is coming. d4 is coming. Okay. I'm thinking. That's what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. I'm going to play this cool move knight g4 with the idea of to play e5. And here I'm playing e5. Seem to be pretty good. A good transformation. It took a little bit of thought to actually find that. Knight g4 did not seem reasonable because after h3 it looks like the knight just goes back. But now we got the situation under control. Now if white plays d4, white will be a little bit open and my pawns are like clinging on to black's position, but if he doesn't, then he's in even worse trouble. So now I'm gonna take this, of course. Welcome back that knight that came back from the land of the dead into the land of the living. But I still don't envy white here. Still problems for white. Okay, bishop f6 here. Okay, I don't have to trade this one, although I could. Let's trade. Let's trade, in fact. Well, wait. If I trade, queen takes d1, and if queen c8, queen d6. So maybe I shouldn't trade yet. I'll play rook e8, and then I'll play bishop c3. Of course, I'm threatening rook e2 check. Sometimes rook e3 as well. White's not too careful. If I have enough time, I'll play h5, h4. So significant number of problems for white. And of course, the fact that my pawn's already on a3 in some endings will give me a huge advantage. Okay, h5 is possible, but I like this move, bishop c3. That simply attacks and defends at the same time. Duration, rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook d8 loses to rook takes rook and queen d7. Well, that's exactly the duration I just mentioned, and that loses to this move. Of course, white wanted to exchange, but it's just not happening. It's not working out for white. Not in this way. Okay, that's nice. I have choices now. I suppose this move is logically driven. Now I guess white's only hope is to push the c pawn. So if I rid white of that hope, he will resign, I imagine, right? So how to do that best? Let's see. I could block. Okay, I think I'm gonna send some guys back, like the bishop. Oh, did I just blunder mate in one? Guys, I just blundered mate in one. Queen e8 was mate. Can you imagine? Oh my god. That's just crazy. That's what happens when you're a bit aloof. And that was seriously aloof. Oh my god, that's great. Now I don't know how to even think about my moves after that debacle. Okay, I just wanted to bring the bishop back, really. That's all I wanted to do. Okay, now maybe just g6. Mate in one I blundered. That is something, huh? Okay, bring the bishop back and start maneuvering here with the queen, or maybe, yeah, just bring the queen out. Wow, mate in one. That is a rarity of magical proportions. Now I can rewind the bishop. I'm just used to my opponents resigning these positions, and it's been a while since I had to just demonstrate that technique. That was some technique though, allowing mate in one, huh? Well, how about I go here? I'm not worried about that. Why should I be worried? Okay, now I was thinking just queening my pawns would be good. All right, well, Branimir, you you had your chance, I got to tell you. That was something. All right, next on our list is a FIDE master, ALIAS, who we played many times on this show, in fact. And here he is again, trying to show that he's got the magic. Okay. For now, I'm up a pawn. Okay, let's say I understand what you're trying to do, so I'm going to defend. Alright, now I'm going to take this guy and take that guy. Still up a pawn. Magic. Magically up a pawn. No threats there, so I keep moving. My pieces out, that is. Okay, now if I take, there will be a threat, so now I should probably move my bishop. Question is where? Maybe not. Maybe knight b3. Knight b3. Maybe not. Let's think. So if I go bishop f4, bishop g4, but if I go knight b3, I like knight b3 more somehow. And now probably just h3 to stop bishop g4. I don't think bishop g4 is something I should allow. Black has two bishops, so there is compensation for the pawn. It's not completely no comp here. There's some compensation, so I have to be vigilant in figuring out what my opponent wants. So a5, okay, now he clearly wants to take on h3, and that is actually an issue which I should maybe deal with, maybe even as far as king h2 here. Bishop h3 is serious. I think I have to do it. By hook or by crook, I have to defend that pawn. Bishop h3 with some good composition. The knight on e4 is no joke. I should have figured out. Okay, this I saw this. Of course, that is exactly what white. Okay, but now actually queen h5 is interesting, and it's not that clear. There are some issues here, because now on f6 I thought bishop c7 instead of queen c8. Now queen g5. Yeah, now I'm trying to get to sneak into f6 from where I will have no problems. Okay, that's a good point. And now what? I didn't sneak in enough. Not sneaky enough. Rook f7, rook e5, queen f4. I think it's okay. Well, it's an extra pawn. I'm gonna do it. There's definitely an extra pawn here. Okay, and this one I can definitely take. And that is a nice endgame. If I seen one, it looks like a winning endgame here. Which, by the way, I don't have to immediately go into. I could play knight d4, but then he plays queen g7, and I can't take. Well, let's just do that then. I'm a pawn and exchange up. And now I'm going to just get my pass pawn going on the queen side. Okay, this is nice. King f2, knight b3. Okay, now I got myself a pass pawn. And I'm gonna just schlep it in. Off it goes. Okay, let's put the knight here. And okay, how do we finish this guy off? Let's just take it easy. No rush. Open up the position a little bit. Yeah. Check, check, take, take. Okay, that looks winning enough. Just grab that bishop and we should be doing very well. Well, actually this is nice because I can actually just queen this a pawn now. Finally. After everything cleared up, the pawn can be just taken. A6, A7 is coming up. Yeah. Okay. Let's see who's next. Meanwhile, if we take a look at this game. Okay, this was a pawn sacrifice that wasn't quite sound, but still black did have some counterplay. Maybe I should have played something like knight d2 here, just stopping this knight e4. That was probably something I had to think about at some point. And here knight d2 I did play, but it was already too late. All right, well, let's see. Keep getting white. Lots of practice in the London system. Okay, let's get going then. ScacchicAgelast. That sounds a bit Italian. I'm thinking about queen b3 takes queen b7. Is that possible? I don't know. Maybe I should just take and play queen b3. That's simpler. And just develop. This is and put that bishop into good work. Okay, interesting. I think I'm slightly better with my bishop on a6. Okay, is black thinking about what, playing b5? Maybe I should stop that. And I'm thinking about playing e4, actually. Not sure how much of an advantage it'll be, but I think it'll be something. Okay, should I do it or not? And if not, what should I do? Interesting. So e4 takes, bishop takes, rook takes, knight d5. Well, let's at least wait. Wait for the better times. See where the black puts his pieces. h3 will always come in useful. I think black is close to equality. I think somehow, somewhere in there, I should have played something else. Maybe queen b3 on bishop d6 is tactically sound. On bishop f4, I could take on b7. I was worried about some moves, but I don't really see what they were now. Bishop e3, I could take the rook. Yeah, oh well. Moves like h3 give our opponents pause for thought, because it's not clear exactly how to place the pieces. So it's very good to play moves like that in a position like that. Now I'm putting my knight on f4. That was my basic premise, that I'm gonna kind of wait to play. Okay, now my bishop can work on b5, which is nice. My queen can go to a3, my knight can go to f4. Lots of possibilities. Probably start with this one. Because bishop d7, knight e5 is something quite immediate. Potentially. Knight c6, okay. takes, queen a3. I think so. Improve my pawn structure. Move my queen out of there. And pin up some of these pieces. Okay. I think this looks nice. To hit that knight using that pin that I created. Force that knight away. Oh, missed that one. Missed that one. Oh, completely missed that move. Okay. That's a good move. I missed it, and that's bad because now it'll be worse. Okay, what's really the situation here? I think I better go. Oh, there's knight c2 as well. My god. And this is pretty bad. I have to play here. I have to stop knight c2. I'll get this position. Probably about equal. Unless I miss something again. And the rook is actually reasonably well placed on d1 now. Stopping bishop e4 and queen c and rook c4. Kind of threatening knight e5, but the position I think cannot be better for white if black plays right. Should be drawish. It's a good move. Improve my queen. Okay, what if I play knight e5, then bishop e4, yeah? So, then b4. And queen d2. And queen d2, queen d4. Knight d2. Well, wait a second. I have to go rook d2 here, I think. I said maybe too late. Queen. Oh, now queen e5. Ay ay ay. That's not what I bargained for. Oh my god. Suddenly I'm lost. No, this is not good at all. Not good at all. Only chance is the time. Time is not on my side, but let's see. Uh-huh. Bad, bad, bad. This is bad. Now I'm behind on time. That's crazy. Because I'm not pre-moving as always. Gotta pre-move. Okay, I lost some time. Wow, that's nice. Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. And I think that will be, I think that's it for the show. A little bit started, I guess, a little bit late, but let's take a quick look at what happened there. That was a nice game. And I think, yeah, I think this position already is a little bit strange. Maybe I could play queen b3, I thought. And on bishop f4, maybe queen b7. This is knight d7 takes. Oh, yeah, unclear position. So I took on d6. And, okay, I could play, of course, on both sides of the board. g4, c5, whatever. But I played here. b6, knight f3, knight d7. Yeah, maybe the simplest is to go for the bishop. This is what all the top players do these days. They just go, oh, I'm gonna rip that bishop to shreds. They control the bishop, then they just develop, and when they're good and ready, they take the bishop and they play with the bishop against the knight. And that's probably how I should have done this. Instead, I didn't. I played here, and this bishop on a6 wasn't as good as I thought. I actually had to play e4 to stop this. And then, okay, at some point I thought I was better. Around here I thought something's going on, and here I couldn't really choose the best move. I played d takes c5, but I think knight f4 was also, and then I was worried about bishop e4, but then knight d4, d2. And somehow black's pieces are all tied up in knots, and he has to lose some material, I think. Knight takes, rook takes, takes, and pawn takes, or even rook takes pawn. And I'm winning because the rook on b8 is hanging. So I think this was the way to play. And once I missed that knight, and I went for this idea to using the pin, but I completely missed knight b4. So here knight b4, and I played rook d1, and black took, and we got to this position, which actually I thought was equal, but maybe now I'm thinking about that my king is just too weak here, and I was in trouble here. And b4 was a bit too much already. I should have maybe played b3 or move my queen to f4 and put the knight on d4, something like that. But here, yeah, this is already very problematic. And of course now the rook and pawn ending is objectively lost. I tried very hard to save it, and in fact came close, but this is not a good position. This is not a position that can be saved. Somehow I managed to actually take down some counterplay, but this is already too late. And the final position, when I got flagged, is completely hopeless for white. The pawns are just too strong. So very well done, ScacchicAgelast. Good luck to you in your future endeavors, and good luck to all of you. And thank you for watching Take You to the Max Show. Have a great Father's Day, all your dads out there, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care now. All the best.